Okay, first of all, I want to thank you, Dave, for coming on. If anybody doesn't know Dave, they should do because I've been on his podcast a few times, Strange Reality. It's a great show. But something caught my eye over the last day or two. In fact, it was people contacting me saying, "How's Dave? Is he okay?" And I thought, well, what is this? And then, of course, I got to find out that he'd had this experience. And I looked at the video that you'd done, and I was quite taken back by it, to be honest with you. So I wanted to be able to ask you some questions about that. I have also had a look at some of those photographs, which we'll get to, So first off, thank you for Dave, today for coming on and sharing this experience. And it's really one of those things that's hot off the plate, isn't it, Dave? Because
Yes,
this isn't something that just happened months ago. This is very recent. Now, I believe, Dave, it started with you taking a trip in your car, in your vehicle, quite a long trip as well, from what I gather, to meet up with family in Seattle. Is that correct?
that's correct. I left on September 17th this year, and I was going to drive out. I dropped the wife off at the airport
Hmm.
in St. Louis, and she flew out to have some daughter and mother time together. So I drove out. It'd take about 3 days, so I figured they'd have 3 days to spend together.
Yeah.
We had other plans. We were going to go from Seattle down to Northern California, visit her sister, then Las Vegas to visit her friend, and then we were going up to Sedona and then Grand Canyon and then Four Corners and then coming home. Uh, that was our plan. That's why I drove. It was 2,100 miles out there driving.
That's a hell
I
of a drive, Dave.
Yeah, I drove a long time, and I shouldn't say this on the air, but I'm a marathon driver.
Oh,
My I've driven 38 straight hours before.
oh my God! Wow,
Yeah,
wow.
and
Well, that
and
takes something. That it really
yeah,
does.
it's focus. You have to be focused, and you got to stay awake. That's for sure. Uh,
Yeah.
but when I set out and I looked at the 2,100 miles and I looked at my age, the last time I did that marathon driving was back in 2019, 2020, somewhere in there. I did about 23 hours straight driving, and I had to do that coming back because I couldn't find any rooms. The contractors, construction workers had all the rooms in Kansas and in Missouri. We couldn't stay overnight. So
Oh,
I drove a straight shot, Steve, right back
wow.
home. Yeah. But no, that was the plan. I
Right.
I drove, and believe me, and when I drive those long miles, I've never had an incident with ET. Never seen an
No.
incident with other marathon drives that I've had. I've never seen ET or anything like that. But this time it was a little different.
Yeah,
Uh,
something significant and different. And there was no predecessor, Dave. There was nothing unusual prior to you leaving the trip or the day before, or anything like that, which would indicate that maybe there was something that might happen.
well, I see this one girl. She must be about 15, 16 years old. I've seen her about 6 times since December of last year.
Mm.
And she kind of looks like the Hiroko that I ran into in Sedona in 2010, the ET gal.
Yes.
And she kind of looks like her, but a younger Hiroko. And I saw her face the last time I saw her. It was about a week before I left. And she was at this department store and she was getting on a bicycle. And my wife walked right past her and she looked at her. She saw her. And then she got on her bike and she rode right past me. She didn't look at me. She rode about 10 feet away from me. I saw her face and she looked just like Hiroko, a younger
Right.
Hiroko.
Yes.
So I've seen her 6 times. I've had electrical problems with my car. That's been going on all the time.
Yes. Yes, I
But
know about that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Very
so I've had
strange.
these little indicators, Steve, but nothing
No.
warned me about this one.
Okay. Okay. So what sort of time did you leave your home to start this trip?
Uh, I got her to the airport at 10:30 in the morning. I started the trip about 11:30 in the morning, and it wasn't till the next morning about 5 o'clock when I was in Wyoming. The GPS took me by how the bird flies, how a crow flies.
Yes.
It took me on back roads. So I went through back roads in Wyoming. It was dark. It was really dark that night. There wasn't any street lights on that 2-lane road. It
Hmm.
was actually Highway 85, It was
Highway 85. And what location is that? Highway
Wy-
85?
Wyoming,
Wyoming?
yeah,
Oh,
west of Wyoming there, and it's near Torrington, Wyoming, is where I started. I got
mm,
into this Torrington, Wyoming, and this is where the first indication was that this is going to be a strange night. I
right.
saw a bright orange object come down behind a farmhouse, a two-story farmhouse. I don't know where it went, and I looked at it. It looked like, now my drawing shows kind of like a
Yes.
saucer shape, but that's all AI would give me. I
Yeah.
wanted I wanted it looked like a giant helicopter, except it was kind of made like our new jets are right now. There's a new
Okay.
jet.
So there was some shape to this light.
Yeah, it kind of looked like our new uh, it's a new plane. It looks, I don't know, strange looking. Uh,
Okay.
and it kind of looked like it, but it was shining real bright orange.
Bright
And
orange.
it landed down behind this house. And I thought to myself, "Oh boy, okay, this I wonder how the night's going to go." So
Yeah.
there's no cars on the road. It was pitch dark. Just, and I kept driving, and then as I approached, it was about 20 minutes later, 25 minutes later, I got to a town called Chugwater, and how could you forget that town, Chugwater,
Chocolate. Yeah.
Wyoming? Yes, and I was going to I-25. I couldn't wait to get to the interstate because that way I can rock and roll. But
Right.
I had to get through these two-lane roads to get there. When I got to Chugwater, I looked in my rearview mirror and I passed like an intersection in town, just a very little bitty town. I passed the intersection, wasn't any lights or anything, and I drove down this road. I was heading towards I-25, and I was a couple of miles out of Chugwater, and then I started seeing a bright light in my rearview mirror. It was a big, giant, bright white light. I thought it was a street light. I kept watching it, kept looking and looking, and then another light joined it, another smaller white light orb. And I thought, okay, I'm going to keep an eye on this. This is
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
And of course, there's no lights, no cars on the road. I was the only car. I didn't see any cars on the road. I,
Okay.
I kept watching, and then a red light appeared, a red orb. They were in a line.
Okay.
And
So we went white, white, red.
right, I got that picture AI that I drew, and you
Yes,
can.
I saw that image. Let me just reel back a little bit because there might be some really interesting detail here I want to pick up on. Well, so the first strange thing you saw was some type of orange object.
Right.
It was emitting an orange light, like a glow.
Yes. Right.
This is at night.
Right.
Was the vehicle moving at the time when you saw this? Was it on your left or on your right?
I was moving pretty slow because there's only one stop sign in the town, and I was coming up to that stop sign. And then I looked over and I saw this thing, and then
Right.
I kept going over, and I watched, and it was a bright orange glow. I've I've never seen anything like that. I've seen six UFOs up close, but nothing like this.
Right. And did this look to be descending near the farmhouse, Dave?
Yes, yes, it was going, coming down low,
Okay.
and then I drove by. I couldn't see it anymore because of the terrain.
Yes, yeah, it
But
came out of sight then, obviously, because of the terrain. But there was nothing, no unusual sounds, no unusual feelings. What about other vehicles on the road? Do you think anybody else could have seen that, or
there wasn't any
there
vehicles.
wasn't any? Now that's interesting. It's always
I,
interesting
yeah,
when you're isolated.
yeah. And it was scary. It was scary, Steve.
I can
And
imagine.
like I said,
Yeah.
when I got to Chugwater, I started seeing these orbs.
Mm.
And then I saw a fourth orb, and they were all in a line. I think I have a picture.
Okay, so when you say you saw fourth, did it just appear next to the others, or did it fly into the consistency of the range of them?
Well, one of them, I saw one pop in, the last white one. When I was watching in my mirror, I wasn't watching all the time because I had to watch the road, so I was
Yeah.
back and forth. But the white one I saw pop in on the very end,
Ah,
and the red one was like the second one in from the, I guess you'd say, left,
yes.
and the big one was all the way to the left of my mirror, and I knew it had something to do with that, and I kept watching, and I thought, okay, this is strange. All right, even me being open-minded and consciousness
Well,
about
yeah.
these UFOs, this was weird.
And what roughly time was that, do you think, Dave? Approximately.
5:30 in the morning.
Oh, 5:30 in the morning. And what was the conditions of the weather? Was it still dark then, or was the sun up?
Dark. It was dark.
It was
Yes.
still dark, and of
Yeah.
course isolated still then, Dave. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was 25 minutes away from Torrington, and I was in Chugwater, and that was 5:30 on the highway. It's Highway 211. I made another change there, so
Right.
I had to switch over. Two
Okay.
lanes
So
up
so
the
you
road.
so you saw these initially through your rear view mirror, or did you
Yes,
actually see them dead on through your mirror?
I saw him through the rearview mirror.
So
I
they were
couldn't.
behind you.
Yeah, yeah. There wasn't any shoulders, so I couldn't pull off the side of the road and take a look or take pictures. So I just stayed on the road.
Right.
I
And
didn't.
roughly what time difference is it between you seeing your orange one and these set of four?
About 20 minutes. About 20.
That's
About 20
nothing, is
minutes.
it? That is not a lot at all.
No, no, it's not. I got
Okay.
yeah. So 5:30, I saw in my rear mirror. I saw all four lights. All right, I started getting scared, Steve. I've been
Yeah.
through this before. I started getting nervous. I thought, okay, they're getting closer in my mirror. I could see them getting bigger and closer. They was following me.
Yeah.
And I wanted to call my wife on my cell phone. My cell phone was hooked up to my GPS in the car.
Yeah.
So I looked at it and I thought, okay, I'll just watch some more and see what's going on. But I was scared, and I was going to call her and tell her, I was going to say, honey, if I don't show up, I've been abducted.
Yeah. Yeah.
These lights are right
So
behind me.
the all these things are obviously going through your mind at the time.
Yeah,
You're on your own. You're in an
mhm,
isolated location, traveling in a vehicle on your own. There's nobody else around. It's
mhm,
early hours. These things are behind you, and you can see them in the rear view mirror, and they are seemingly getting closer. At that point, you start thinking, "Hang on a second, something might not be good here." Yeah.
right. I went on for another. I think it was something like 25 minutes later from 5:30 to is about 25 minutes. It was about 10 minutes till 6. It was still dark because I don't think the sun come up until about 7 o'clock
Mm,
in Wyoming at that date.
yeah.
And so I thought, okay, I'm not. It's going to be an hour for me to see light, but I kept watching, and I was scared, and something was bothering me inside. It was kind of like something was going to happen.
Mm,
Apparently, I think it did. About 5 or 10 minutes before 6, on that road, I must have stopped and started. And the only reason I know that, and I got an AI drawing of two little grays, about 4 feet tall.
okay.
I I looked in my mirror and I saw them running across the road, going to the other
Behind
side
you,
behind me.
and
And
your
then we,
vehicle was traveling at the time. Yes.
yeah, I was traveling slow. It was kind of like where I took off. I think what happened was I think they picked me up. This is my thought. They
Yes.
picked me up. They hit me with a light, knocked me out. They set me back up on the road, and the two little grays behind me. They were about 50, 60 feet behind me. I saw them in my rearview mirror running across the other side of the road. I thought, okay, that's an
Yeah.
indication that they nabbed me, that
Mm.
they got me. So
Yes, I can understand that. Did you notice any missing time or anything like that, Dave? Or
no, no, it was if there was any missing time, it would probably only be 15, 20 minutes because I was keeping track of the clock
right?
pretty good.
Okay,
And but it's probably 15, 20 minutes of missing time.
right.
Because it was about 6:30 when I reached I-25, and
Yes,
so between 5 or 10 till 6 until about 6:30, I got to I-25. It all stopped. The lights all went. They were all gone.
yeah. So they all disappeared then.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you saw these two beings in your rearview mirror.
right.
Yeah, and you're looking, and you see them. What are they doing? Running across the road behind you?
Yes, they was running across. They was two. One was behind the other one. The other one took off first, and the other one took off. They went to the other side of the road where their craft trolley was sitting, and I
Right.
I looked in the rearview mirror and I saw this. I said a cuss word out loud. I said, "Gee," I said, "Gee, D, not again." I thought
Yeah.
that was a dead giveaway that they tampered with me or something
And
happened.
something happened. Now,
Yeah,
when you say you saw them running across the road, did they look like they were just normally running as a person would be running, that sort of speed and physical contact to the ground?
not they weren't running real fast. They were taking like fast steps across the road. I called it running, but they were taking fast
Okay.
steps. And one of them was in behind the other one when they ran. They just, right
And
by
they
me.
both looked identical, yes?
Yes, both same heights. They look the same. Skinny little grays, in which I've seen
Yeah.
grays
Did they
before.
look to have any type of clothing on, or just
No,
not none?
no, they were just no clothing, nothing, no vest or no pants or anything. They're
Okay,
just
so
gray.
this is now about 6:30 in the morning, yes?
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so after seeing that, I thought you'd probably just put your foot down and just try and, you know,
Yeah.
carry on.
Yeah.
Um, and how far was it then? Obviously, what happened next? What happens after that?
Okay. What happened after that? I got to I-25.
I-25.
I was getting into Laramie, Wyoming, and I got into Laramie. Got out of Laramie by 2 miles on I-25. I could travel a little faster. And here's the little tidbit that was very strange, Steve. I looked over and they got these pretty little buttes. They're actually earth buttes, they're not rock. And they
Yeah.
got trees on them. It's pretty flowing hills. And on top of the one butte, it looked really nice. It wasn't too far from the interstate. There was a tall tree sitting there. Then next to it was a shorter a tree, a dark tree.
Hmm.
And I thought, okay, I looked at it, it moved. I said, oh no, it's a moving. It was black, and it swung around the bottom of the tree like a gorilla. And I thought, Bigfoot. Oh my, a young Bigfoot. Looked like he's about 7 feet tall, and he was black.
Now
I
this
thought,
is what
yeah,
what 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 time are we looking at now? Is it daylight?
yeah. You're talking about 7 o'clock.
So you're talking about 7 o'clock. The sun's just
It was
coming
still
up.
dark. It was just sun was just
Just
starting,
just 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 dawn, was it? Just dawning?
just dawning.
Okay. So you see this silhouette of this being of some sort near this tree.
Right?
Now, what's going through your mind? The chances that you've seen UFOs,
Yeah.
you've seen ET,
hmm
and now a Bigfoot, and you
Yeah.
you must be thinking to yourself, this has got to be all connected somehow. And what is the chances of that, Dave?
Right.
It's got to be
I thought it was a third eye charged up, and I was able to see these things.
allowing you to just whatever's in that environment, you're going to witness it. Yeah.
Right. There is another element there, Steve. It's a highway hypnosis.
Hmm.
When you drive for a while,
Yeah, you
I,
kind of go into automated mode. Yeah.
yeah, and you're tired, so your reactions, but you do. I'm very alert.
Hmm.
I've driven all these miles for hours, and I guess the military trained me for that because I was up 3 days without sleep in the military. So
Right.
it trained me for that. I was very observant. I drive very well, even after 2 days, not 2 days, but 30 hours of driving. I drive very well. I'm very attentive to the road, and I'm not sleepy. I'm not
Hmm.
dropping off. My eyes are
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
closed. So I'm very alert, and I see everything, and I know everything's going on. So I saw this Bigfoot, and it was on I-25 and a couple of miles past Laramie, Wyoming. I've got my notes here. I'm reading my notes not
Hmm.
because of the story, but
No.
because
No.
because of the locations and stuff
Yeah,
that
I
you
mean, you've done the perfect thing. I would advise anybody to just write it down because those little details are really important.
right. So I saw him standing alone, and this was it was 15. I saw it for 15 or 20 seconds in my
Yes.
note, and I knew it was Bigfoot by the way it looked, about 7 feet tall. All right, here we go to another gem. I mean, this one right after another. This
Mm.
was on September 18th, and it was at 2:12 p.m. I got into Livingston, Wyoming, and
Right.
it
Now
was
I know Livingston, Wyoming. Okay,
okay.
so yes.
Yeah. No, no, Livingston, Montana. I'm sorry, Livingston, Montana. It,
Montana. Right.
yeah,
Yeah.
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 I'm sorry. I read my notes wrong.
That's okay. I
I,
know.
I,
I've been, I've,
got-
I've been to Livingston, so I know what that's like there. Yeah.
I tell you what, Steve, this made me nervous. You might have checked out my video.
Yeah.
I was nervous. I'm even nervous now when I think about this, what just
Mm.
happened.
Yeah.
The, the big one's coming up soon, and it's made me kind of, I don't know, my whole body kind of like I was in a paralyzed state in my arms and legs after this event that's coming up. But I got into Livingston, Montana. It's near the Yellowstone River off I-90. And
Yes.
I drove up to Livingston. My wife called me and got on to me. She says, "Get to a room and go to sleep. Go to bed."
Yeah.
She said, time I hear you, I want you in a room.
Mm.
I said, okay. I said, I haven't passed any towns that have rooms on that road.
Well,
There wasn't
yeah,
that
it's
many.
quite isolated, isn't it? Yes.
It was a pretty place, Montana, and but I pulled off on Livingston. It said there was a room there, so when I started pulling off to the right, I looked down the highway, and there was a orb going across the road slowly.
In front of you?
Yes, in front of me, in front of I
Okay.
was, it was going into town,
And
and
was
it
this just a white orb, or was it orange, or what color
no,
was it?
this was silver, white
Oh,
silver
a
orb.
silver
Uh,
orb. And it was when you say an orb, is it a sphere? Are you
Sphere,
talking
a
about
sphere.
a silver
Yeah,
sphere?
right. Well, we can say we can relate it to the Booga spear in a way.
Yes, yeah, silver sphere.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. When I got into town, I thought I'd see this sphere,
Mm,
and I didn't see it. So I got gas, went to the bathroom, grabbed a sandwich, and took off. When I got back out on the road, which was only a little over a quarter of a mile getting back on the highway, when I got back to the turnoff to get back on the I-90, I saw it again. It was coming back out of town, like it was following me. It
right.
followed my entrance into the town, and then it followed me back out of town. And I thought, okay, so I
Yep.
pulled up a
Yep.
little way. I saw it pull across the road, and it went over this little valley. It was just sitting there. There's no wind that day, mind you.
No.
No wind. I like rolled down the windows and everything. There was no wind, and even the cars that passed me did not make much of a noise. It just shoo, shoo, like that.
Yeah.
That's it. So I pulled off on the shoulder because there was a shoulder there, but I dare not open the door on the driver's side because somebody could hit me. So
Yes.
so I sat there, rolled the window down. I started taking pictures of this
Now
sphere.
I saw these two photographs that I see here, and there's one slightly at a different angle. It is the same location, but it's slightly at a different angle. So I'm assuming you took two different photographs, but one slightly, you must have moved slightly did an angle change between?
I might have changed with my cell phone, moving it around the trees to get a better shot.
Yes,
I
yes,
remember taking four pictures, and the last one is kind of weird. I'll have to explain that, but I took these pictures of this sphere, and it just sat there like it was watching me.
yes,
Like it was saying, okay, I'm watching you too, and you're taking pictures, and I know it. So
yes.
after I took the fourth picture, somehow you got a picture as a quick video. I tried to get a video. My phone went down,
Mm,
and it was taking pictures of my foot. I must have got weakened because what happened then is the scariest part, and it still bothers me. This has bothered me probably worse than anything because it attacked me in a way. The
yeah.
car started being hit with it. The sound was like this: vroom, vroom, vroom,
Right. So that
vroom.
sounds a bit like some type of EMP. It's like an
Yeah.
electrical magnetic pulse, it sounds like, because they tend to be periodic, thumps, boom, thump, thump,
And the hum, I don't know if you know about the Taos hum, but
I
I
do
heard it.
know about the Tellus hum. Did you hear a hum as well as in the
Yes, it was
background?
really, yeah, it's really loud in the car. It was
Oh,
saturated in
so
the
the
car.
sound was in the car with you.
Yes. Yeah, it was humming real loud inside the car. And I must have went down after about a minute, a whole minute it did this that I know of. I must have went down. Was I abducted then? I'm not sure. I'm not really sure, Steve.
No.
Something happened. It really knocked me down. You can see where I took a picture of my foot, and I was
Yes, I
trying to
saw the
operate.
photo.
Yeah, I tried to operate the camera. I think that's when I went down
So
after about.
basically, you lost your coherence in
Yeah,
regarding what was actually happening, and you couldn't maintain that. I mean, you were just prior taking photographs,
right.
and you can clearly see from the first photograph that it's highly luminous. So the sunlight must be bouncing off it. It's quite brilliant,
Right.
and I don't think the camera gives it much justice because I just know through how this works as an investigator, and I've taken so many photographs myself that this thing was pretty close. The camera doesn't give it justice, to be
No,
honest with you.
no,
You
it
know?
don't. It was closer to me. I
Yeah,
could see where it was about 2 or 3 feet in diameter,
yeah,
and the camera. I tried to adjust it, but you know how you are in a car and camera, and you're trying to be doing this quick because you don't know when it's going to move. So
Yeah.
I was trying everything I could, even tried to put it on video, and I tried to lock it in. I tried to open up the screen a little bit and shoot, but I still was getting about the same shot. It was kind of like it was controlling its own size. I don't know.
Yes.
Maybe I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know.
very strange because I know there was a slight shudder in the camera, which is understandable because it's in your hand and it's not tripoded, which is indicative of that the reflection what that this was. So it was obviously highly reflective,
Yes.
like silver in a sense of speaking, for it to bounce that much. Because I looked at the light source itself, and it's equivalent to the morning sun. So it seems that the morning sun is just bouncing right off it like a mirror, and that slight shudder on that camera just caused it just to slightly nudge. But it's not the object it's done that. It's just a slight movement on the
Mm-hmm.
actual camera that causes that effect. But on both of those very good photographs, and I have to say they are very good, it seems to be just sat there very stationary
Right.
without any movement,
Right. No.
and does seem to have some type of interest in you. I mean,
Yeah.
we have to look at the whole sequence of events here. I mean, we're talking about an orange object that we see coming down near a farmyard, and then we see these two entities running back across the road. We see these strange lights, white, white, and red and white, and then a Bigfoot, and now this. It's just that for that whole duration, Dave, you've been party to something. It's been going on. Yeah,
Right. My brother even told me, and he's got Alzheimer's, and he told me, he says, they've got you tagged. I said,
yeah,
yeah, they do. They've had me tagged ever since, well, I wrote this book, my lifelong history,
yes,
up until
yes. They.
2020.
What's the full title of that, Dave? By the way.
What do they want?
What do they want?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good because we can give that plug the book a good plug. And that's what. Tell me a little about that book. I mean, is this just about your life in the subject and your
Up until
experiences up to? And when's that go up to? Is it current?
2022.
22.
And actually, I got a ledger that I took these notes on. This is how I take my ledger notes.
Okay.
And this ledger has 90 pages, Steve.
Oh wow,
I got enough to write two more books.
wow, that's a
These
lot.
little paranormal things that happen, the car, weird things that dealerships cannot figure out, and this girl following me. I
Yeah.
don't know what's going on. My wife gets really scared, and then her fear comes out in anger sometimes at me. So she's really afraid of it. She's a kind of a religious person,
Yes.
and so they don't have this thing about opening up their mind to these types of things.
I can understand that, but I would assume that she would not want you to be on the road at night in isolated locations. I can completely understand that, Dave.
Yeah, yeah. I so after I took these pictures, and I don't know what happened to me because I don't know how I drove off back on the interstate, but I took off slowly, and my mind was really kind of like I was really mixed up, like I was hit with this energy
Yes,
for a whole
confusion.
minute, and I turned around to the passenger seat. I thought my wife was sitting there. I was talking to her. She wasn't there.
She
She
wasn't.
was,
Oh, well, you were totally
she
confused then, obviously,
was
yes.
And I kept talking to her for a whole minute while I was driving. I turned to her again. I said, "Wow, that was an experience, honey." I said, and I looked again. It took me a minute or so to come out of it, and I looked at the seat and it was empty. I said, and I was driving. I was maybe only driving 50 miles an hour because I was trying to get my speed up, and I was
Yes.
kind of really pulled down. And
Yeah,
yeah, it was
it's strange. I mean, it sounds like that you've had some psychological impact here, not just the physicality of this experience, but the psychological side of this, which has certainly left you in some type of day. Well, some part of it was kind of a dazed state. You lost your coherency. Your phone dropped to the floor in a sense of speaking. You wasn't fully in control of yourself, but then a little bit later on, you're you're having a conversation with your wife. It's not there,
yeah,
and something has happened psychologically as well as a physical experience here, by the sounds of it.
yeah. At 2:07, I checked the photos properties It started, the photos started at 207 went to 212, I believe, in the properties on the photos. And one of the pictures, I think you kind of blew it up. You highlighted it.
Well,
It
yeah, because I was trying to look at the normalities of these particular photographs. First off, what I can say is that whatever you take in a photograph is physical, it's there, and you caught it as it should be. Okay. Secondly, the light emitting from this object is very coherent in regarding the amount of sunlight at that time of the morning. So it's highly reflective. This is not, it doesn't look to be an object that's emitting a light source. It
Mhm.
looks like it's completely like polished steel or mirrored,
Mhm.
and it's just absorbing that light and bouncing it back out, which the camera actually picks the details up. In the iris of the camera, it's picking out the detail of light there, and it's quite tremendous, the light, considering its distance and the surroundings. So that's another good thing because it just shows the clarity of something was physically there that you took photos of.
Mhm. Did you, the one picture you sent me, and you kind of, I guess, would you call it, you reverse the camera?
I reverse, yes. What I do is I reverse it and I look close at it. There was one particular photograph there. Now, I know that you mentioned on your video what it kind of looks like, and it's that's the problem when it comes to those type of images. We don't know how these images get onto the camera, to be honest with you, some of these images, because sometimes people say, well, I never took it, so
Yeah,
what the hell is it? And to be honest, it's very, very difficult to call it. I mean, we can always sort of say, well, it looks a bit like this and it looks a bit like that. We don't know, but it's remnant of, there's a slight lens flare in the bottom right hand corner. So we know that somewhere within the iris of the camera, it's picking up sunlight somewhere.
mhm,
So it's out there, with you at the time of the photograph. Now, the other part of this is that trying to identify what those things are, because there's two sides of this. I mean, you've got this arcing area and looks to be some type of reflection, and then you've got the other side, and it's a bit unsure because when you actually look at that other side and reverse the image to see the clarity there, it looks like scales, to be honest with you.
yeah. The
Like
part of,
fish scales, you
yeah,
know? I
there's
don't know.
there's an eyeball there.
Yeah.
It has blonde eyelashes,
I just
and
don't
it
know
looks like,
what it is, Dave. It's so strange. But what I find really unusual about that is that you don't recall taking a photograph. And what would that photograph have been anyway?
yeah,
Of what? It just doesn't make much sense, to be honest. It's an anomaly, and you do get these anomalies sometimes. People will say, well, I don't recall taking this photograph, and I don't know really what it is. It is unusual, of course. I think the whole sequence of events that day and the photographs that were taken, because I know there was another photograph that was taken, you could see sunlight, there was some movement to the camera, but I just don't know. You may not even recall taking that. We don't know what it was. Was it even the camera just doing something on its own? We don't know, do we? If we
yeah.
not
I
might not
did.
have necessarily pressed the button to take a photograph.
I didn't reverse the lens either. Like you reverse the lens on.
Yes.
I did not do that. I
No.
rarely ever do that anyway. So whatever I was taking was taking out from me, and it looked. I keep looking at that. My gut feeling says that is an eyelid with eyelashes on it, and it has a pale face on one side of it. But then you see this one, like you said, it looks like scales coming into
It
the
does a
camera.
little, I have to admit it does, because the way they overlapped are overlap light scales. Like brickwork, you get two and then a one and a two and a one. Scales are like that as well, in the sense of speaking. It does look, and I don't know what that is. I can't work out what that is from the image. I can only speculate, but what's interesting is that it was caught on the actual camera during this period set. Whatever that is, you'd have to class it just as anomalous as the other things you have taken photographs of. Don't
Mhm.
ever disregard these sort of things because sometimes
Right.
they are part and parcel of an experience of some sort. But it is highly unusual that you're affected in this manner, not only in a physical way, then you're hearing this pulsing sound that sounds like an EMP, and this droning sound as well, hum at the same time in the car. Now, thumps. bleeps and strange things have come from cars during experiences. I mean, Betty Barney Hill case, 1961, September. On their way back home after their experiences, they heard a sound in the car which was bleeping. Not a normal sound to experience in their vehicle. They didn't know what it was, and it drove them potty, and they were a bit worried about it. But it did carry on for some time. Other people have experienced those types of things in sounds in cars after experiences as well. Strange thumping sounds, also humming sounds or buzzing sounds. But the car was okay. They had no problems with the vehicle whatsoever during this
Mhm.
experience. No?
Yeah, it's a fairly new car. We just bought it 6 months ago. So
Right.
I put 5,500 miles on that car on that trip.
Oh, already.
Yeah. Yeah. But now to continue the story, Steve, I did drive another 3 hours or so and I got to Butte, Montana.
Mm.
That's a bigger town. I got a room there, pretty nice room. And when I got there, I could not operate the key. You know, the cards that you
To the
get.
card key, yes.
Yeah, I couldn't operate it. It wouldn't work for me. I had to have some guy do it for me. I said, "Would you do it?" I said, "There's electricity in my body." So I had the mind to say that, and he did it real quick. And
So
those,
he had no problem, but when you hold the card, it wouldn't, the
no,
electronics wouldn't trigger.
no, it wouldn't. No.
Okay, so that could be down to the amount of electricity in the body. Sure, yeah, you can actually, that can affect things that you're actually in physical contact with. I do agree with that, yes.
Besides, I had a good night's sleep there, and I caught up on my sleep. I went to bed early that night, but there was a picture taken at 6:12, and I did not take this picture.
And was
I
you
took
sleeping at that time, Dave, at 6:12, or
no,
was you
I
up?
was about 8 o'clock. I think I finally fell asleep, but this picture was taken at 6:12, and I didn't check until the next day, and I saw this pale-looking face on one side of it, and it had this artwork on the wall.
Yes, now I noticed the picture. There was a picture on the wall, looked like a tree was on it and some scenery.
Yeah, there was a giant man's face. I mean, a beard, and he was pale looking, and he's tall. And there's little bears. The bears look small to him or whatever. But the picture actually, when I looked at it, Steve, it was actually moving. I touched it, and this face was actually moving. And then it had a little saying. It said, "Artwork is real or true." No, true. Artwork is true. Those words went away. I
Right, so
don't know.
let me just run through this with you again, Dave. So you are awake, you looked at this photo. Sorry, this picture, yeah? Now,
Mhm.
did you look at this picture because a photograph was taken of it on your phone that you didn't take? Or is that just by chance?
Okay, I took a picture of my room to show my wife that I'm in a real room.
So she believes.
I, yeah, I took two pictures, but I did not take a picture of that artwork. I did not see that artwork. I
Okay,
did not see it.
so you walk up to this painting, this picture, and you're looking at this picture and you see something within the picture, or is it just through the
No,
camera?
it was actually like the face was moving back and forth, and then there was words that says artwork is true. So whatever was on that face, that was a true history, or maybe a tall white. I don't know.
On a
Nordic.
picture, on a picture in a
Yeah,
room that you're
yeah.
what's what's the chances of this, Dave? I mean, what is so strange, isn't it?
And I did not take that picture. I only took two pictures of the room, the bathroom and the beds to show my wife.
Okay. Okay, that's very strange. That's very strange. So when you left the room then of course and carried on your trip, yes?
Yes, I did. I carried on and I went to Idaho next. It wasn't that Idaho wasn't that far away. It was probably about 2 hours away, and I got to Idaho I was in northern Idaho, and which is very mountainous, and you just go up and down hills and mountains, and it's all tree covered. Uh, I got to here's a town here. I can't pronounce it, but I wrote it down. It's on I-90. I was on exit 15 I-90, and it's Coeur d'Alene, Idaho,
Aline.
Alene.
Cordeline.
Yeah, and it was 2 miles before the location. I saw the exact sphere off to the side of the road, exact sphere setting over this little lake right in between trees, like it was watching me. I looked at something told me to look. I looked over, and there it was, setting right there. And you talk about chills going up and down my back.
Yes.
I thought they are following me. They've got
Yes.
me. They're following.
Yeah.
So about a mile or two down, I stopped at this rest place and started walking around my car a little bit. I said, "This is crazy." I tried to walk it off. I said, "What's next?" I didn't know what was next. Are they following me, and what's going to happen next? So, seeing that sphere, the exact same sphere,
Same sphere, yeah.
sitting there, looking at me, and it was close. It was pretty close. I could see
Mm.
it was 2 feet, 3 feet in diameter. I
Yeah.
could not take a picture because I was on the interstate, and there wasn't any shoulder. So
Right.
I looked as much as I could to take it all in, and it was the same sphere, and it was 2 to 3 feet in diameter, and it followed me. Yes, and
Wow.
that's
So when did this trip eventually get to then? You got to Seattle?
got to Seattle. We spent 2 3 days there with my stepdaughter and my wife, and then my wife and I drove down through Oregon. We stayed a night at Grants Pass, Oregon, and then we went down to Northern California, and then we went over to Vegas or to Nevada, and we went down to Vegas. We had a good time with our friends there in Vegas, and
Yes.
we spent 3 nights there. We celebrated our anniversary there, and then we took off to we went to Grand Canyon first, and then we went to Sedona. I had to drop off Sedona because Sedona is magical.
Yes.
Well, there was a picture taken there. My wife took a
Sedona.
picture.
And there is a photograph here
Yeah,
that, yeah, that was there of what looked to be Sedona region.
yeah, and there was a butte, and I was standing there. Then there's another picture in between these two pictures, in which I think you got in your picture catalog there, and
Mm.
it shows another something, some energy or something at the bottom of the picture, and it shows an arm in a black type of sleeve thing, and it had a white, like a jacket on it going up to the collar, like, and it looked like a white jacket and had an insignia in which I can't make out in
Mm.
the picture, and
Yeah.
it looked like something was standing there and got into the picture, and it looked like, and the it was open, and I keep thinking it was a white Nordic female, and that's what the picture looks like to me. These are things that comes to my
Did you
gut.
see anybody at the time when that photograph was taken? No?
Nope, not dressed like that, not at all.
No. That's
No,
unusual. So,
yeah,
uh, so at this time you weren't on your own then at Sedona, was you? Or were you with somebody?
I was with my wife. Yeah,
You
we
with
were
your
together.
wife? And your wife never saw anybody, no?
No, she was the one
Okay.
who took the pictures of
Oh,
me,
right. Okay.
and yeah, and so she took that picture also, but she was probably taking a picture of the butte, but it turned out that something got in the way of that picture.
Right. I see what you mean. Okay. So something appeared on the actual camera, but you don't recall anybody actually being there. That's interesting. So did you have to drive all the way back then on that trip then with your wife? And
Yes, we drove all the way back. We went to Four Corners, and it was dark when we got there. We got a few pictures of that, and but nothing else happened on the way back. Nothing.
no.
That was the last that picture. So don't. Oh, I must say, the brake light on my car. It's a Honda CRV, and the
Oh,
brake.
right. I used to have a Honda CRV.
There's a brake, emergency brake that you got to push down, but you got to have your foot on the brake. It's a two
Yeah.
operator type thing, and the brake was on airport lookout when we were up there, and I was
Oh,
taking off, and I looked it down, and the brake was on. Now I took the car to the dealership, and I told them this was coming on by itself, and they said it can't be, and they checked it out, and they said no, we can't find anything wrong.
not again, because you've had a sequence of problems with your previous vehicles where they couldn't explain, and yet this is a new vehicle, and you're asking the same question, and they're saying it can't come on. It's
Yeah,
impossible.
right. And so it was on. I looked at my wife and I said the brake was on. She kind of looked at me, kind of scared looking, and because she knew the history of the car, we brought it brand new, and something was turning on the brake on my car, and I couldn't figure. And the dealership said no, it shouldn't do that.
No, it
It
shouldn't.
and they checked it out, and so it come on. It did it in the on top of airport lookout in Sedona. So that tells me it's the same ETs or same paranormal activity that's following me around.
That you've had previously, and the
Yeah,
effects on your vehicle as well, which were profound, weren't they?
both cars. I had a Cadillac Escalade,
Both
and
cars.
it lit up one night like a Christmas tree. And my wife was gone. This usually happens when I'm alone. Usually, I got out. It was about 6:30 in the evening. I was going to the store. I started the car up, and everything lights were going off. Horn was beeping, and the lights, exterior lights were on, and everything was flashing. The dashboard was flashing lights left and right. The speedometer needle was jumping like this, and I said, "Oh my God, what's going on?" Somebody told me you should have recorded that, but I think it was. I thought the car was going to blow up, and I thought when you're afraid something's going to happen, you're not in the mindset to get out of camera and start doing this.
Yes.
Uh, so something told me to drive it. Telepathically told me to drive the car. It was real sluggish. Actually, it shifted gears slowly. I drove it to the store. When I got to the store, it all stopped. It was fine. I took it
Right.
to the ship, and they said nothing. There was nothing found.
Do you know, that's so unusual. I mean, there's this Honda CRV now that which you have. What color is it? Is it a bright color or still a dark color?
The Escalade was black, and the Honda is a dark gray.
Dark grey. Now the with the Honda, is this an automatic or is it a shift
Yes,
gear or
it's automatic. Yes.
it's an automatic? Okay, so you shouldn't really have the brake light coming on. I mean, it all goes to a central computer, as you know,
Right. Hmm.
but electronics can be manipulated very, very easily by phenomena and cause all sorts of problems.
Hmm.
But it could be a telltale sign. But that's subsided now. You don't have that problem with the vehicle where the brake lights are still coming on, no?
Yeah, I didn't have for a whole month or two until Sedona, and then it started again. It did it in Sedona.
Again,
Something
right.
letting me know it's following me or whatever. And these pictures that I'm getting, that just they seem like they're inserted. And my gut feeling when I look at them is, the one looks like an eyelid, the first one. The second one looks like a light colored hair, like blonde hair and a pale face, and it's looking like into the camera, and you can see one of the dark eyes, and then it's got the artwork on the other side of it, and that's from the Butte room, in Butte, Montana room,
Yeah.
and I can't explain that picture. None of those three pictures.
No,
They're
it's
two or
strange.
three.
They just have appeared on your camera and you have no explanation for them. I noticed, Dave, that which where I was quite concerned, and the reason why I actually reached out to you is that there was a sequence of photographs there of you taking a photograph of your hand where there had been some marks on your hand. I was curious if you
Okay.
could tell me a little bit more about that. Now, the sequence, I mean, I looked at these and I can clearly see that there obviously is more than one mark,
Yes.
maybe a different occasion, but it's because it's in a different location on the hand.
Yes.
Can you tell me a little bit more about them, Dave? How you came to take photographs of those?
That mark, let me see. I think I have it on my notes what date it was. It was that I had it's they look like little laser cuts.
Yeah,
It, I think it was 9, it was 10 to October when I got back. I had a little mark on my hand. I didn't notice until I was here in the office and I looked in the light. There was two bubbles of blood at
mm,
each of the laser, kind of looked like a little laser cut. It was on the second knuckle on the right hand. The first cut I had, I think it was about a month or two before that, it was on the first knuckle.
right. Yes, and this is why I can see two different images: first knuckle and the second knuckle,
Right. And
but
I've
very
had,
similar, actually, almost
yes,
identical.
they are. They're identical. And I don't remember scratching myself. That would kind of hurt
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
sure,
know it. And the
absolutely.
blood. Yeah.
No, I mean
So,
that's a bit strange. I mean, they didn't feel like they'd welted. There were no, you couldn't really feel a lump there or anything, but it was obviously a drawn blood,
mhm.
and it's the same hand as well. Yes, is that your left hand?
This is my right hand.
It's
Yes.
your right hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
My left hand, I think there's a implant right here. I can move it around. The doctor said, he said, would you like for us to take it out? And I said, no. You know why? Because when they take it out, they keep it. They won't let you have it. It's
Ah,
biohazard. So
right,
I didn't want them to do it.
right. And
Uh,
have you had that X-rayed or anything, Dave, or
yes.
looked at?
Yeah, I got a
Okay.
picture.
All right.
Right.
So you can see an image of something there. Yeah, and there's no marking, no scarring or anything there.
No,
So
I think they went into a joint, uh, like here in the joint area where
yes,
you,
and I'm aware of other people in that particular area,
yeah.
which has been adversely affected by something which might have been placed inside them. That's really interesting. So all in all, there's a lot of stuff, sequence of stuff it's happened in a short period of time here.
Yeah.
It seems that whole trip, you being on your own, of course, was the significant thing here. It was that whole trip, you being on your own and isolated, is what kind of this is kind of unfolded into all these things, all so many things, UFOs, entities, Bigfoot, all these different spheres. It's just there's a lot. So maybe, like you said, something happened to you in a way where the blinkers were off and you could see every possible phenomena on that road trip, or it is just phenomena. It's just playing with us, like they do sometimes, Bigfoot, UFOs, and whatever. And it's just trying to understand and trying to get our heads around why they do what they do is next to impossible. But it's a bit of a road trip. I'm sure that you won't forget very time anytime soon.
And I don't know why. Maybe it's my age, but after that incident, seeing them two, those two ETs, the two 4 foot tall grays, and then after that, being attacked with that energy, I think,
Yeah.
Steve, 2, 3 days after that, when I met my wife, I was clumsy. My hands and my arms were clumsy. I actually fell out of bed when I
Oh,
got when I got to Seattle, and I just got to Seattle, and my wife was still at her daughter's. It was kind of late when I got a room, so we didn't meet up that night. It was the next day we met up, but I was sitting on the soft bed, and I was wearing these compression socks, and when I sat down, I slipped down and just fell right on the floor. I was helpless, and my wife told me the next day I was handling stuff, and it was kind of like I was clumsy, and she says, "You're like a baby." She said, "You're not grasping things real." I said, "Yeah, I know. There's something that just bothered my hands and arms.
great.
I don't know if there was the effect of what happened with that energy, but
Yeah, I wonder if it is some type of adverse condition brought on by the experience. But it does sound like your coordination's completely shot a little bit after
yeah,
that.
it did.
Which is which
It
is
did.
which is very strange. I have to say though, Dave, I mean, it's not nice. I don't like to obviously see people being injured in any form of way, even if it's just scratches. Scratches are also associated with paranormal phenomena, as you may know. And when I look at some of the images that I have from scratch marks during paranormal phenomena, they look very similar, if not identical. People don't even recall how the scratch hit it was happened. They don't feel anything. Suddenly they notice it, and there's these little drops of blood and stuff. I don't like to hear things like that, because it's something I have to consider. I don't like things like that happening to people. But it's something to sort of keep your eye on, though, Dave, because if sequences of things like that are happening, I wouldn't want it to go down a bit of a dark path. I know that you have had previous experiences, but sometimes something can come along and do something a little bit different sometimes. And I don't particularly like that. But if you start to feel that there is something which might have been some aspects of this which might continue to be a little bit negative, and that it's disliking, you don't like this, then I normally would say to people, look, the first thing is probably to do is just boost your internal system with iron. Take some iron supplements. You might be low iron in your body. Phenomena can sometimes target people with negative things with low iron in the blood. So taking some supplements would probably help. And to monitor the situation. And, of course, if things always get, if things do get worse, then which I don't, I'm hoping that's not the case, because it seems like you've had a long-term experiencing phenomena over many years. But you just never know. You just sometimes, I don't like scratch marks. Are they going to, is that the start of something, which might not be too nice? Or is it just one of those things? It's just strange. We don't really know. But if it should do, and if it starts to be a problem for you sleeping, sleep is an important thing. If you're having any forms of confusion, you got to boost your iron system to some degree, because you know what? Sometimes some things can just come along out of the blue and cause some little hiccups in your life, and we don't want that. But it's something that it's been a profound experience for you, and I know that you've travelled quite considerably, but for this is all really jam packed in. into
Yeah.
this little into this excursion, isn't it? A lot of things have happened there, a lot well over the normal amount of what you would experience. Some people say, "Oh yes, I saw a UFO," but for what you've seen and the amount of things you've seen and the variations things you've seen, there's much more meaning to this, Dave, that something's happened here, I think, than just normal. There's something that took place with you being isolated on your own at that particular time. They were showing an interest. You saw far too much than just be coincidence, far too much. So I believe something probably did happen to you. So I'm glad you've documented that because that's a real important issue. But I wanted to get the clarity of what you'd seen, and it is quite tremendous actually. When you look at the whole picture and just the duration of hours from
Right.
start to finish, and what took place in that time is remarkable. It really is.
Yeah. I talk about marks, Steve. Marks on my bodies, they were in 2012. I had marks, holes in my legs, three, four holes in my legs, usually the left leg.
Mm.
And I've had that since I've had those holes in my legs. I got about 5 or 6 pictures of 5 or 6 different years that I've had those marks and holes in my legs. They're in a line, so you know
Oh,
they're
right.
they're done. They're done some by something or something. And I had 9 holes one time in my leg, and they were in lines. And
And you don't recall how you got them. They just
no,
appeared. You woke up and they were there.
right. Hmm.
So strange.
Yeah, matter of fact, I went to the gym and I put my leg up on the stirrup of the stationary bike and I saw all those holes. There's 9 of them and they were in lines. I said, "Oh my God, here we go again." So I've had these marks off and on. I've had things all my life ever since I was 13 years old. I saw my first UFO and with a good friend of mine. So it started then, but it didn't really get active until back in the 90s. It started up again. I was playing music. I was being pretty active, and I was probably partying a lot, so they didn't bother me too much. But in the '90s, it started again by my bedside in 1995 when I saw a little gray come to my bedside, and he looked me. He didn't have the black lenses on, I guess, because it was dark in the room and everything. So he just standing there looking at me, and I thought it was my stepdaughter coming around the end of the bed to go get
Mm.
an aspirin.
Yeah.
It was a little gray, about 3.5 feet tall, 4 feet maybe, and stood there and looking at me. And I got scared. And for about 5 or 6 seconds, I was just scared. And then all of a sudden, I just passed out. And
Right.
an hour later, I got up and my eyes were just twitching. I had a nervous twitch.
It's so very strange. People have profound human experiences that go through life having these that some people are seemingly connected with phenomena or phenomena is connected with them. For some reason, it does happen. People do and continue to have these experiences at the least time they expect them, to be honest with you. But then that is an open opportunity for you to be isolated on a road at night. There's not many people around. It's the same old story. Phenomena acts like a preying wolf sometimes and takes the opportunity
Mm,
to interact when at likely times when there's nobody else around and you're isolated, and that seems to be the case many times, because it doesn't tend to happen very much on busy roads with lots of people around. It
mm,
waits and it waits for an opportune moment. And there were plenty of opportune moments, Dave, when you were driving, to be
mm,
honest with you. It seems like they had a bit of a will day with you, really, to be honest with you. I'm glad with this has been documented because I want to be able to share this and let people know. And also ask people to basically come over to your channel to look at some of the things that I mean, I know that you're talking with other people about what they've experienced about their various different types of phenomena, but there's also some details about your own experiences there. So it would be good for people to come over and have a look at your channel as well and learn a little bit more about you and what you do and your interest and your experiences. So that's a good thing. I will be putting some of the images within this, so it lets people know what you've experienced, what in the best way you possibly can. Because I know what you've done. You've basically gone to AI and said, "Could you sort of create this image for me?" Because it's in your head, and you're trying to. AI never do it properly. They
no,
never really, really get it right.
no.
But I think it's done pretty well considering what you've experienced. You know.
Mhm. I was told by Linda Moulton Hall some years ago, and she told me, she says, she interviewed me for 45 minutes on the phone. She was doing a psychological test, and she said, "You're for real." I asked her, "What'd you think?" She said, "You're for real. Your stories are real. I would just wish you had pictures." She said, and she said, "I want to tell you something else." She said, "You've had so many experiences, it's going to make it harder for people to believe you with
That's
the."
it.
I said, "Yeah, I know." And I had Kathleen Martin
Oh,
uh,
yes. Yeah.
tell me one time. She said, "Well, as you get older, you these experiences will drop off." But she was wrong, and so I was wrong because Kathleen Martin has had experiences too as she got older, and
That's
now
right.
I'm experiencing things as I get older.
Yes, and I still do as well. From I
Yeah,
started at 7 years of age, and I still have experiences now. It's not let up. I thought it was going to. In fact, I was told that, oh, don't worry about it. When you start getting into women and your chemical body changes and this, that, and the other, you won't have any of these experiences. No, it still rears its head. It's got a long-term investment in probably people like you, Dave, and me, and maybe some others, and it does continue to take place. Occasionally, these things do happen.
yeah. I come up with another word. You've heard of experiencer and contactee. I've come up with a unknowing participant. That's
Oh, yes.
the third degree of this contactee, an unknowing participant. That means I'm participating with these ETs, except I don't know when it's going to happen.
Exactly. I like that. That's a really good analogy because it's befitting, very befitting, because it's not abduction, it's not contact cases, it's yeah, unknowing participant. Yeah, I like that. That's a good analogy.
Yeah. So I feel like I'm participating with them. Whatever they're
Yeah.
doing with me, testing me, blood tests, plasma tests, DNA. I know I have some hybrid kids because I met a couple of them hybrid, and this one young girl that follows me around since December. I'll tell you the first time I saw her, I pulled up in behind my complex here, and when I pulled up, there's a young girl, probably 14, 15, sitting up against the garage wall, brick wall, and she had a long white smock, like a huge T-shirt. It looked like it was a size 60 on a young girl that's probably only a size 2, and it was hanging off of her. She had a bag in her hand. She got up real quick and ran out the back gate. And I looked. I said, "What was that?" She didn't look back at me or nothing. She was just gone. But that's not the first time I saw her. I've seen her 5 times since then.
Wow.
She
So
follows me around.
profound human experiences, we refer to this in the UK, where people are just have those so profound experiences through life.
Mhm.
They don't really know exactly what they mean. They spend most of life trying to figure out what did it mean, and yet they don't really come up with the answers, but they do continue to have experiences. So it's been really, I'm so glad that we actually got this down on record, Dave, because I think it's good to share information because it's pretty hot off the press, really, to be honest with you, because it's happened so recently. I will actually look on satellites to see what if there was anything that was around that night or those days in those specific areas because there's stuff up there now. It's always photographing and stuff. So I will actually check into that. And if I do discover anything that tallies up, I'll certainly let you know, because we have had occasionally confirmation through satellites as well, which are always up there monitoring day and night.
Mhm.
So if I do find anything, I will send it over. In the meantime, I'll send this video over to you, Dave, and feel free to use whatever you want to from that. And
Yeah.
I will continue to look into this, and to see if, are there statistical reports in those locations of other mysterious things that might have happened or things that might have turned up in the press. I'll certainly look into that.
I can send you my ledger notes for the locations and that type of thing if
Well,
you
you'd
need.
verbally mentioned the locations on me, so I can get this from the edit actually, and I can both basically I can go to satellite then, or I can go to geological. I can go to basically looking at those locations, and seeing if there's anybody is actually local press, and maybe has anybody reported seeing anything strange or unusual in those locations. If I do find something, I'll certainly let you know. But I want to thank you for coming on, Dave, and
Yeah. I got a couple of questions to ask you, Steve.
oh, sure, you do that.
You,
Yes,
you and I have been together 3 times before, and we've talked, and we've become pretty good buddies.
yeah,
And you said there were people that told you about my experiences, and
yes.
could you tell me who they were, or
They
is
were
that?
in comments because, as you may know, that I've tried to direct people to your channel for people to view what things, even when I've appeared on there to some degree. And those people who went to the channel and obviously are aware of seeing your videos and things, contacted me in comments on my videos on my YouTube channel. And just, I mean, it wasn't even to do with the video that they've been on. They just said, "How's Dave doing? Is he okay?" And then other comments were, he's had an experience. Is he all right? So people saw that video that you made, people who watched my content and contacted me because I didn't know about it until I was told by these comments, is Dave okay? He's had this experience. And I thought, oh, he's got something on his channel. So I went over to have a look at your channel, and this is why I saw it. And I thought, oh, I need to contact you I need to find out a little bit more about this because it's people out there. So I think, when I throw these little bit up on my channel, I think people will go, thank God, Steve looked into it. He's talked with Dave. But it'll also help people sort of drive to your channel as well, which will be a good thing as well. But I like that. I like the fact is that some of my audience are connecting with you and your experience and coming back and telling me I didn't even know at the time, and I was like, oh, why? What's gone on with Dave? I hope he's okay. And that
Yeah,
was when I had to go and find out.
yeah, what are friends for? But I want to tell you a little secret. I kind of wish this scared me quite a bit. It took me a while to come down off my nervousness. I'm still a little nervous talking to you about this whole thing,
Yeah.
especially being attacked. This is the first time I felt being attacked by some kind of energy, and it scared me.
Yes, that's
And
right.
so, and I was, when you wrote me, you said you had concerns and you had questions, and now I know what your concerns and things were.
My concerns are, Dave, that I don't want this to take a bit of a darker path. I know that sometimes phenomena can deal out a bad hand sometimes. And I don't want that for you because I know that, your experiences are your experiences. But when I see injuries, I don't like to see them because I don't think they're necessary.
Mhm.
And I don't like to hear about the psychological aspects of problems that might have occurred from the experiences because sometimes that's not necessary for this to happen. People have these experiences without that. And I just wanted to make sure that, that those things don't start rearing its head. And if they do, then there are things that you can do to help yourself, which I can certainly guide you to. Absolutely.
Right. And I respect you. You're a very intelligent man. You know this topic very well. And I couldn't wait to talk to you over the weekend when we contacted.
No, I'm glad we've have
Yeah,
because this is what it's about. These experiences, about sharing experiences.
yeah.
And it's due. I mean, even I had profound. 4 days ago, I got up and all my clocks in the house are all 6 minutes fast.
Wow.
All 6 minutes fast. I don't know how that can even happen. If they run down on batteries, you'd expect them to go behind, but not 6 minutes fast. I don't understand the physics is involved. It's one of those strange things. And I just gave, it's one of those things. And we could have actually a little book, couldn't we, Dave, called It's One of Those Things? Because really, there's a lot of one of those things, isn't there, throughout life?
What do you think about this energy? The one last question here. What do you think about this energy? Can it hurt me in the long run? Did it do something to my
I think
DNA?
it's a byproduct, Dave. I don't think it's actually we're going to do this energy on you. I think it's a byproduct of the experience. In other words, whatever they've been doing, which took place, this is a residue. It's left over. It's a byproduct, But in some cases, if you've got consistency, I know you were a bit confuddled at the time, and I can understand that because sometimes it can affect you that way. But it should be short-lived.
Yeah.
That confusement, hand to eye coordination, all those sort of things, it should be a short period of time. It shouldn't last for days and days and days. If you have that reoccurring, even if you don't recall an experience, it's a problem. You don't want to be having that in your life. So you want to basically say, look, you know what? I can understand being an experiencer, but I don't want that. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And there are
I,
ways to deal with that.
I actually, to be honest with you, Steve, uh, I just, I wish this stuff would come to an end. I've had enough of
You've had
these
enough. Yeah.
of these ET experiences. And a lot of people say, "Well, Dave, you can't stop." I said, "No, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to still be here, but mentally, I'm this trip, and
It's
I'm
exhausted you. It does exhaust you, doesn't it?
no,
These type of experiences. I completely get it because I've had times like that where I've really hit bottom and just thought, look, I've just fed up. But the thing is, Dave, we're on their books. It's their choice. It's their doing.
Yeah.
We don't really have much to say in that, to be honest. I mean, we can always like kind of put out and let them know in a sense, we don't want this experience anymore. I'm tired of having these experiences, but they'll still go ahead and do whatever they do. It's the psychological and physical impact of it afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't like it to see where there's problems remaining, you know.
Yeah.
And
I,
if it
I
is, then there are certain things you can sort of do to say, look, I've had it, don't want that anymore.
I know you can stop ghosts and do some things to stop ghosts and spirits and maybe some paranormal, but ETs won't stop.
Well, there are deterrents in ETs. I mean, iron is a deterrent. RF frequencies are a deterrent. UV light can be a deterrent at night problems with NHI. There are deterrents that can be used, boosting your system as well, internal system. There are several things you can do. Now, when I first wrote up this, I was contacted by an organisation called Free, which Mary Rodwell's part of. It was created by Edgar Mitchell, this particular foundation, and they really wanted to look at our statistics in regarding people who claim to be alien abductees or contactees, and they seem to reduce their experiences by providing these protocols to them to do this, 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 and this, and they came back to us and said they've subsided. And we thought fantastic. So they wanted to know the process and the details of what we do. There does seem to things that we can do, but it's not 100%, but it can help quite a lot of people, and it has done, not just within the paranormal realm, but NHI as well. In other words, putting yourself into a situation where they don't want to interact with you because it's problematic or there's a certain deterrent there that they don't like, and they'll go away, maybe come back some other time or something like that. But there does seem to be things that we can do to try and help ourselves in this. But it's a last resort. I always try and say to people, look, if you think things are worsening and getting to a problem, then there are things that can be done to cause a deterrent. And that sometimes will work. Deterrents do work sometimes.
Yeah. I think the word, like we were talking about, the unknowing participant, hits me just right because it's been going on so long. I'm participating with them somehow or another. And I guess so. But I want to thank you, Steve. You narrated this very well, much better than what I
No, I'm
did.
glad. I'm glad
Yeah,
I think what's most important is that it's been very well documented. You've done a fantastic job at documenting this because considering there was confusion and all this sort of, you've still documented it. So hats off to you, Dave, for doing that because a lot of people just don't do it,
yeah,
and little important details are lost over
yeah.
time.
I carried a little black book with me. It was this little black book, and
Oh, very good.
I wrote down the times, dates, and locations and what happened, just
Brilliant.
brief. That way, I went to my ledgers later when I got back home and start typing everything out. So yeah, if
Wonderful.
you come up with an idea what those three strange pictures are, let me know.
I certainly will be doing it. Yeah, I don't, I do, I am a bit of a bloodhound, so I do like to just keep at things to see what might surface. And sometimes I even go back to them later and go, do you know what? I need to check this now. I need to check that. I will be doing. I will be. And if there's anything I discover, I will let you know, obviously. And then you can obviously let people know yourself. But I have to look at all the details of the photographs and view in different ways. And I will certainly look into the satellite imaging and local history even comes into it of those locations. Why
Mhm.
those locations? Why not another 10 miles down the road?
Yeah.
Is there a reason? Is there something around that they may be interested in? And it's just like, oh, here's somebody we know who's passing by in the middle of the night. you know, is it an opportune moment or was it planned?
He looks easy, yeah.
Yeah, easy target.
But actually, I'm not that easy because I am licensed to carry a weapon. So I do have weapons on me. And if there was a face to face, I wouldn't, but they numb you down. I've been dumbed down. I know what it's like.
They do. They
Yeah.
know you carry a weapon.
Yeah.
If you carried a weapon, they would know that.
Yeah.
We've got to fight them in a different way.
Yeah.
If we really want to sort of do that, we've got to fight them psychologically and physiologically without the use of weapons. It's here and here.
Yeah, it
This is
is.
the best way to deal with that. Because the others just don't work, to be honest with
Those
you.
three those three strange pictures. led me to believe these are Nordic aliens, and they had the little grays working with them.
Well, it
That's
could
what
be. I
led
mean, it could
me.
simply be all one thing in a pot. This is the problem with this. We always delivered absurdity. From some people saying there were humans on board. Some said that they were reptilians. Sometimes the angel-like beings or beings of light. Or there were so many, Dave. And the problem is, you get to a point where you just kind of, oh no, it doesn't. My head's spinning with it all. And I think they like to do that. I think they like to leave us with our heads spinning,
Yeah, they do.
trying to work it out because
They want to give you
that's
the
what they don't want you. They don't want you to put all the dots together.
right. That's it. I did run into a tall white on board a ship on a very lucid dream, and I walked up to her, and she was about 7 feet tall. She
Yeah.
didn't have no hair.
And
She
that's
had
another one, a tall white as well. It's a different one as well.
all white. So
So strange, But
yeah,
what we'll do, Dave, I want you to keep in touch with me, and if you want me to come back on a show of
I
yours, then
do. I
let
do.
let's
Yeah.
make an arrangement, and we can
Thank
always
you.
do that. Just contact me, and I look forward to doing it.
All right.
I have quite new information I can share about some of the research that we've been doing
Yeah.
recently as well. And in the meantime, I will keep in contact with you if I discover anything else in regarding the photographs or the locations of where these incidents took place. And I will create this video and I will send it over to you
Okay.
as a shared file from my Google Drive. And feel free
Okay.
to use whatever you want to do, Dave.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Steve.
Okay. Well,
You're
have a
my
good
go-to.
day.
You're my go-to person now.
Well, have a good afternoon, Dave, and I shall talk to you soon.
Thank you so
All
much.
right. You take care. Bye for now, Dave. Look after
Okay.
yourself.
Bye.